How do you clean with high functioning depression? That is a great question. I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, a couple of years ago, we made for you a video on how to clean when you're depressed, and it's gotten a lot of play. Lots of people had questions on it. But there's a question that came in today that asks about the next level, which is high functioning depression. And it goes like this. She says, do you have advice for high functioning depression? Having all the issues described in your video, but still able to maintain a semblance of normalcy. I'm able to hide the depression to an extent, and the house is passably clean most of the time. The issue is more a constant low-level sadness and little to no drive to do anything other than just go to work. Zero energy for exercise or hobbies or socializing. It also seems to be cyclical. I'll have a good week where I feel like I might have it in me to get my life together, and then suddenly all the wheels fly off and I'm in a deep hole for a few weeks. Then I come out of it and I start feeling better again, rinse and repeat. All right, I want to stop here for a second, and I want to honor the fact that you took the energy and you took the time to write me a letter. So thank you very much. I'm already seeing signs of improvement. All right, that said, I want to stop and I want to make a disclaimer. I'm a house cleaner by trade. And so all I can share with you is my personal experience. This does not replace medical advice, and I cannot give you medical advice over a YouTube channel. So this is only my personal experience. I want to go back a couple of years. Actually, let's go way back to my 20s. I was engaged, and my sister ended up marrying my fiance. And that just absolutely threw me into a tailspin. I was young, I was inexperienced, I didn't really understand my own emotions at the time, and I did not know how to deal with, to me, what was this huge, colossal betrayal from my sister. And I sunk into a really deep, sad, heavy, dark depression. And it was so heavy, and it was like such a big cloud over the top of me, and I was so sad. I did not know how to deal with that on my own. And I didn't know about getting medical help and getting a therapist and all that stuff. Those were resources that I was unaware of. And so what I had at my disposal was just the world around me and my awareness. And I said, I'm about to do something really drastic. What is it going to be? And so for me at the time, I've got to just make this go away. Okay, so I just needed to get rid of whatever I was feeling because I did not like the way I was feeling. I was going to become an alcoholic, or I was going to take up running. And I ran 12 marathons that year. I chose the running instead because I felt like it had safer side effects. If I had chosen the alcohol, I would have been in rehab by the end of the year. But instead, I was at the Boston Marathon at the end of the year instead of rehab. So that was my solution. But what I did is I literally put on a pair of running shoes every day, and I went and I ran as fast as I could and as hard as I could. And I cried for most of the time until the endorphins kick in, and then you feel fantastic, and it's hard to cry while you're feeling fantastic. But every single day was a struggle for me. And then I slid into about a 2-year window of post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I was dealing with some really heavy stuff. Meanwhile, I'm the sole provider for my household. I was living alone at the time. Therefore, I was responsible to pay my bills and put a roof over my head and pay for my insurance. And I had a business at the time and all those things. So being a high functioning person in a state of deep depression, I know where you're coming from. The thing that saved me during that time was the systems I had created for myself. And one of the systems, and this is going to sound really counterintuitive, and so just take it for what it's worth, listen to it, don't argue with it, just listen to it and see if it makes sense. And then if it does, you can work it out in your own head if it makes sense for you. For me, what made sense was instead of just annihilating my feelings, which is I'm just going to go sleep it off, or I'm just going to go binge watch TV, or I'm just going to spend all day on my phone so that I don't have to actually deal with my feelings. To stop and to look at my feelings has been enormously helpful to me. And here's the reason why. My parents live in a valley. And in order to get to my parents' house from any airport in the world, you have to drive through some very dangerous, windy road canyons. And all along the way on the roads, there will be signs that will say things like rocks falling, or low shoulder, or drop off ahead. And it will show pictures of really windy curves. You know, the slope of the road is going to get faster, slow down. And it has all these warning signs. They even have moose crossings and duck crossing signs and all kinds of other weird stuff. but there are lots and lots of warning signs in this canyon. So if I drive through the canyon and I don't like those warning signs, and I just say, oh, I'm not going to look at those signs because I don't like them. What happens then is I put myself in danger because I didn't pay attention to the warning signs. And so going through that canyon, I have to actually be on high alert. I have to say, whoa, wait a second. Don't fall asleep at the wheel here because you might go right off the edge of a cliff, right? And so for me, what it meant was whenever I have these warning signs that start popping up in my life, lethargy, when you have no energy and you're exhausted and you just don't feel like doing anything, that is a warning sign to me. And I'm not talking about anyone else, I'm talking about me personally. But that's a warning sign. Something is amiss. Something is not right. That is a warning sign, like driving through the canyon, like rocks are falling. And you're like, whoa, all right, now that puts me on high alert. So what I have to do then is I have to stop and I have to say, why do I feel this way? Did my diet change? Did my sleep patterns change? Am I overworked at work? Have I taken on an inordinate amount of responsibility that I'm not capable of following through on? Like, what is actually happening? Because as a high functioning person experiencing depression, what happens is we do tend to do all the things we always did without the capabilities of doing them. And that only makes us feel like a failure. So now you feel terrible about yourself. And now then there's this failure of, oh no, I'm a failure now. And we give ourselves these guilt trips. So I want to stop for a second and not only say go on high alert, but we are our own worst critics. I am for myself, and I know lots of other people are as well. Maybe it's not you, but I know it's lots of other people. So if I am my own worst critic, what does that mean? That means I'm going to give myself an honest look at what's really going on. And number two, I'm going to be responsible for being my own best friend. Because during a time of severe depression, when you just feel like you can't get the pieces up of your life and going again, there's no one that's going to reach out and give you a bigger hug than you can give yourself. You get to live with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every year for the entire year of the entire time of your life, right? You get to live with yourself forever. And so I want you to become your best friend and your best ally. So there are times when if I wake up in the morning and I just feel like, oh, I just can't do this today. What can I do? What can I do? I'm very talented. I'm very skilled. I am a high functioning person. If I don't feel like I'm on my A game today, what can I do? Can I shift my responsibilities around just a little bit and maybe do a B task instead of an A task so that when I'm relaxed and I'm refreshed, I can come back and do the A task to the best of my ability so that that's what my client deserves, right? Now, when I hit menopause, and this is later in life after the early depression, but later in life, I went through menopause and I had just a very, very difficult time because all of my hormones changed. And again, I was really in a state of this is not who I am as a person at all. But being a high functioning person, I went back to the systems. And I'm going to suggest systems because the systems will save you. There were people coming to my house every single day that are employees of mine. I was responsible for putting food on their table. I did not have the luxury of saying, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. I think I'm just going to sleep in. I did not get that luxury. Okay, there are people that are expecting me to do certain things. So I had to get up every day. If nobody was here and I was left on my own, I may not have gotten up out of bed. I may not have taken a shower. I may not have anything. I felt really, 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 really lousy. And so now I had to say, wait, people are coming. I have to hurry and get up and take a shower. I have to do my hair. I have to put on makeup. I have to clean the house. And I don't know if you know it or not, but if you have a house full of employees that show up every day, it's like an Airbnb. You got to turn that property every single day. You got to sanitize all the high touch areas. You got to sweep and mop the kitchen floor, clean up all of yesterday's crumbs or whatever may have fallen. You got to wipe all the countertops off, clean out the fridge so people have a place to put their lunch. You got to restock the coffee bar. You got to clean out the bathrooms. You got to wipe everything down, wipe off the toilets, wipe off the toilet handles, make sure that you've got plenty of toilet paper. Everything is restocked. It's like running an Airbnb, okay? So there's a part of every day where I have to go through all of those tasks. And I didn't feel like it, right? So I'm in the same situation, like, are you serious? Wow. And I was angry and I felt, frustrated and I felt like overwhelmed. But the reality is the system, it's the system. This is what the system does. And I look back several years now that we've gone through the system every single day and we've had enormous results from our business because we were able to go through the motions. So if you have a system in place. It's going to allow you to, even if your heart is not in it, and even if you're not on your A game, you're still going to be able to go through the motions of the system and still get a whole bunch of stuff done and still deliver the things that you promised. There are rules to being a high functioning, person that experiences depression. This might be a time where you go talk to a medical doctor and you have your thyroid checked and you have your blood work done and you have just a whole overall body, renovation, like, hey, am I okay? Because there was a time I thought I was dying. And then my my doctor's like, you're not dying, you're just advancing in age and this is normal. And what you're experiencing, everyone goes through. And I'm like, oh, they do? Well, this is horrible. How come nobody prepared me for this? I don't like this at all, right? But what happens then is I was able to say, okay, so nothing's wrong with me. And we ruled that out. And then from there, you can say, what else has changed? My diet had changed. And because I wasn't feeling great, I didn't fix healthy foods. I'd slid into a really bad pattern of eating foods with a lot of preservatives in them because they were quick and they were cheap. And I discovered for myself personally that I cannot eat sugar. If I eat sugar, it makes me just feel like I need a nap and I feel crappy. I don't know why. That's me personally. So I had to say no to sugar. And I love sugar. I'm so addicted to sugar. I think I'm just like everyone else. But for me, I can't have it. I cannot function at the high levels that I have to function if I have sugar in my diet. And so there were concessions that I had to make. Do I want to feel lousy or do I want to feel great? And what is the price of me feeling great? Oh, I don't get to stay up and watch Netflix late at night. I have to go to bed earlier because I need more sleep. My body is sending me a signal, like going around that windy, curvy mountain road. If I don't listen to the signals and I only get 2 hours of sleep a night and I'm filling my body with preservatives and junk food, oh yeah, I might be a high functioning person until I flat out crash. And my adrenal system has failed me because I have not given my body what it needs, right? So I just want to say, I'm really sorry that you're going through this particular thing right now. I love the fact that you've already reached out because it says you're on a mission to find solutions. I know for me, the solutions were to create consistent systems that I could follow even when I didn't feel on my A game. And the second thing was to pay very, very close attention to the signals, not mask them, not annihilate them, not pretend like they're not there, not make them go away and do other things that didn't let me focus on actually what is going on. It's the what is going on where I was my own worst critic that could then turn me into my own best ally and my own best friend. So I hope this helps a little bit. If it does and you have questions, those go in the notes below. You are not alone. There are lots of people that are going through this right now, and I would love to hear feedback from people that are experiencing this. I will also leave a link in the show notes below to the new tape. That is a tape that I listen to even to this day. I listen to it every night when I go to sleep at night. I turn it on low and it just plays in the background, and it reminds me that I am the kind of person that I believe myself to be. It's really helped me renovate my attitude and my internal wellness. And that's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. So if you want, you can listen to that tape as well. But do keep me posted because I do want to hear how this turns out for you. And I'm saying a prayer on your behalf that you feel fantastic and that you're able to put all the pieces back together again and get back to the way that you deserve to live your life. All right, until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.